these days Australian food culture is we eat food from all over the shop. I think wine should be the same. Australia makes 3% of the wine in the world. Aside from Barossa Shiraz and Hunter Semillon and all these other great wines, there is a world full of fabulous wines, and wines with personality, and wines that tell stories, and they're different stories to ours. Now 10% of what we drink is from overseas. Italian wine, French wine, Spanish wine, Portuguese wine, Chilean wine, Argentinian wine. You know, there are all these amazing countries. English wine, I know it sounds terrible, but no, it's not. You know, in England can produce some amazing sparkling wines. The limestone that's in Champagne, it goes under the ditch and comes up in the south of England. It's the same soils, and they can produce, in kind of warm years at the moment, they can produce great sparkling wines, and that's the world of wine. The book basically has chapters on different countries, the important countries bringing stuff in, also explains the labels, so things like, you know, what is, you know, some people would see that and go, Côte d'Aron, I've got absolutely bloody no idea what that means. And so the book kind of explains, you know, what do the labels mean, what grape varieties, and that's for, you know, all the major grape regions really in all the countries, and then just what I think, you know, my personal opinion on the good, the bad, and some ugly wines too. And also price point, I tried to, you know, $10 to $2,500. It's very easy for people to go, right, I like Barossa Shiraz, therefore, or South Australian Shiraz, and that's all I'm going to drink. I mean, for me, wine's all about exploration. It's about a journey. I don't have the attention span to buy a case of wine. I end up just buying a bottle of it and neck it, and then go on to the next one. Not in one night, though. Good Chardonnay is not rubbish. Good Chardonnay is awesome. And Chablis is this very fine, minerally, delicate style rather than this big fat style that kind of we've become used to in Australia. And I think Chablis is probably a bloody good place to start. It's white Burgundy, and it's one of the great wine regions of the world, and there's some pretty good value there as well for good Chablis. In my house, wine was a purely cask product. And I believe the bottle stuff came out at Christmas time, and it was Angus Brut. You know, seriously good stuff with orange juice. So that's, you know, that's where I've come from. And there is this, but the world and Australia are just full of amazing wines that I think a wine shop is actually like, it's almost like an art gallery, really. Wine is not beer, wine's not spirits. Wine, you're tasting the product from a place and a time. And once a bottle of wine, I mean whiskey, you've got a bottle of whiskey, you can have the next one, and the next one, the next one, the next one. It's going to taste the same. There's going to be bugger all difference between it. You have a bottle of wine, that bottle of wine will never live again. You are consuming something, if it's a serious bottle of wine, and serious can be $20 up or $15 up, that bottle of wine will never live again. That's a person's work in that bottle that you are sampling. And the great thing about wine is that you don't have long to sample it. You have a couple of hours to sample it, or 3 or 4 hours to sample it, and it will never change. And great wines are that experience squared.